Good morning, Millennial Economics here. Hope you're doing well. We are getting into an answering Reddit video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to dive right in here. This was an interesting one. So let's just dive right in. All right. So the post reads: struggling financially at age 23. How do I get myself on the right path? I moved out of my parents' house at 19 due to a dysfunctional family life. Ever since, I've been bouncing around between apartments with roommates. With the rising costs of just about everything, I feel like I'm losing the battle financially. My current situation is I'm living with a roommate friend in a duplex while working full-time and going to school full-time. I completed my associate's degree in business management last fall and now working on my bachelor's in supply chain management. This past May, I finally landed my first real career job, $48K a year. Despite working full time, I feel like I'm drowning in this endless loop of paycheck to paycheck. Because I've had to submit my parents' financial info for FAFSA, I get very little aid, and I'm left shelling out a couple $1,000s each semester. They don't and won't contribute a dime despite sending my sister to an expensive 4-year school and supporting her all throughout. As if working full-time while in school full-time wasn't enough, I'm just barely scraping by to pay bills each month. I have $1,000 to my name right now and I feel pathetic. My anxiety is surging and I'm constantly in a state of anxiously waiting for payday to come. I only feel slight hope in that I have 1.5 years left of school, and once I have my bachelor's, I will be in a better position to advance my career. Also, I signed up for tuition reimbursement through my employer for a few classes this semester. That will be a huge relief if all goes according to plan. Sorry if I sound like a huge complainer, but finances have been really bothering me over these last few years, ever since I've been out on my own. If anyone has any tips, advice that'll set me on the right track, I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks. So this is an interesting one, and one that I think many people could resonate with. But before we move on, I would love it if you've enjoyed this content, enjoyed my content, my little car chats that I've been doing lately. I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. It just kind of helps the growth of the channel. It helps new viewers to see it with the algorithm. Also, if you're enjoying this video or this video resonates with you at all, I would love it if you liked the video. And I'll give a quick plug too for Acorns. If you're a beginning investor, an intermediate investor, or just an investor that wants an easy way to invest, I've personally been using Acorns for almost 6 years, maybe a little over 6 years. It's a big part of my investing strategy today. I use the recurring investment tool, so I picked a portfolio that was already built for me. I set up recurring investments every Monday. And like I said, I've been using that for 6 years. They also have a roundup feature, so you can add a credit card or a debit card to the app, and every time you use it, it'll round that transaction up to the nearest dollar and invest a spare change. Again, these passive ways to start investing. And I also do a Roth IRA with Acorns, and they also have some other cool type of investment accounts that you can dig in. But if that's of any interest to you, in the description there's a link, a referral link for me. If you use it, you get $5 added to your account, absolutely free, and I get a little kickback as well for you using that link. Okay, so let's dig in. All right, so this person is young. They're in school, they moved out. Very similar to my story. I moved out at an early age, was having to figure out the financial thing at an early age. They have bills, so they support themselves with rent, with food, with utilities, etc. They're balancing paying for school, and they feel like they are in over their head, which I think a lot of us have felt that way before. So the first thing I would tell this individual is, it's okay, be patient. Right? This individual said they are 23 years old. 23 is young, right? And when you're in school full time and you're trying to work full time and you're out on your own, those initial years, especially being in school full time, they're going to be difficult to get ahead financially. All right? So be patient. It gets better. You know, when you get out of school and you don't have to pay for that tuition and you're on your own, you're going to have more margin every month to be able to start getting ahead with your finances. And what I would tell you right now is that you're already kind of ahead of the game because you're not going into loads of debt for school. I don't know if you're in debt. That would be one question I would ask you. Do you have credit card debt? Do you have a car loan? You said you applied for FAFSA, but it doesn't look like you have any student loans. So it looks like you're paying your way through school. Those things are huge. If you are able to graduate with a bachelor's degree with absolutely no debt, you are miles ahead of the game. You know, the average person, again, this is just out of my head, kind of what I've seen with research, the average person, they might graduate $40, $50, $100,000 in debt with the same bachelor's degree that you're getting yourself. All right, so you're already ahead of the game. And also kudos, because I think you said that you're getting your bachelor's in supply chain management, and that will get you a good career. As you can see, you're 23 years old, your first job's paying you just under $50,000 a year. That's wonderful. All right. The second thing that I would say after that bit of encouragement is you're making enough money to where, because you're making about $4,000 a month pre-tax, right? I don't know if you're contributing to a 401k or how much your health insurance is, right? These are all things that I would need to know if I was coaching you. But you're making about $4,000 pre-tax a month. I have a feeling that you don't know exactly where all of your money is going. I have a feeling that you don't have a written budget, because having a roommate, being single, and having $4,000 of income every month, you should be able to have some margin there in your life, right? So I would encourage you to sit down, grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, maybe a little seltzer water, something like that, and write down all of your expenses. Write down your housing expenses, your utilities, how much your school is costing you, your gas, if there are any debts, right? Again, I don't think you do because you didn't mention it, but write down if you have any debts. Write down all the things that you're spending money on each month. Calculate what your paycheck is after tax, right? So maybe pull a couple pay stubs and figure out what you're making after tax, and figure out what that monthly margin is. I would also encourage you, which might be contradictory to what a lot of people would say, build in a little bit of fun money into that too, or else you're going to get burnt out. You want to enjoy your money as well when you're getting on the right track financially. All right, so maybe you budget in $100, $200 a month to go out with your friends or whatever, but make sure you stick to that budget. Then you're going to have your monthly margin amount every month. With that amount, what I would encourage you to do is, at this point, just build up savings, right? Maybe invest a little bit. Like I just mentioned with Acorns, you could invest $5 every Friday. That's what I started off doing, an amount I didn't even notice. But you want to have an emergency fund, okay, of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So you're just going to start piling money into that, all right? And meanwhile, you're going through school, you're going through life, you're enjoying a little bit of your, the money that you're making making sure that you're staying debt-free during these years. These last 2 years that you have, that is your goal, is to be debt-free. And if you can, build up an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, okay? After that, you're not gonna have the school payment anymore. You're going to be in the workforce full-time, more so full-time than you are. You're gonna start getting advancements. You're gonna start figuring out what you wanna do, and that income is going to increase. And you're gonna keep these same principles that you're implementing now as you continue to get older. Right? So instead of maybe investing $5 every Friday, you start investing in a 401k with a company match. And then you start investing into a Roth IRA. And then you start investing into a taxable brokerage account. All the meanwhile, you're debt-free and you have your emergency fund all set up. So I hope this is helpful. I want this to be a word of encouragement, because I know you're feeling like you aren't gaining traction. That's the issue here. You're feeling like you're not getting ahead. And what I'll say is you are getting ahead based off of the knowledge that I have, because you are getting a bachelor's degree. You are working full-time. You're doing so, paying for it as you go without any student loans. You're debt-free. You're on your own. So let this be a word of encouragement. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope for those of you that aren't necessarily in the exact situation could pull some of this wisdom, some of this information, and apply it to your own life. Sometimes we feel like we're stagnant. We kind of have to correct course a little bit, get things in order. But also, when you look at the 5-year picture instead of the 1-month picture, sometimes you can see that you're actually in a better off place than you think you are, and that if you continue doing what you're doing, things are going to get better, and you'll find yourself gaining more traction down the road. And I can certainly resonate with that. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this valuable, and we will talk to you very soon.